We are Fandom Roulette.
Two nerds with a passion for
History,
video games,
tabletop games,
and, well, really any nerdy stuff that comes into our lives.
While we might not be able to name every ship classification in Star Wars,
Or every Pokemon.
or every spell in the player's handbook,
Well, one of us can.
we're still here to have a good time.
Hey everyone, welcome to Fandom Roulette. This is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And on Fandom Roulette, this is a podcast where we talk about a myriad of nerdy things, including such things as video games, history, tabletop role-playing games, and whatever nerdy things we feel like talking about when we talk about it. Sorry, my brain kind of broke there for
You know, I give it a silver medal.
a silver medal, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey Cody, how have you been?
I have been well, all things considered. How have you been?
Oh, you know, as things are rolling right now.
Yeah, we're making do with what we got. Given
Making do with what we got.
Situation.
I'm finding myself trying really hard to take some more me time and a little less screen time when I can.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to, go for walks and stuff, which has been nice.
Nice.
And trying to read like at least a chapter of a, like a non-digital book or something along those lines. As often as I can.
Nice.
Yeah. You do anything out of the ordinary? You trying to shake up the normal Cody schedule?
No.
No.
I mean, I guess the little bit of extra time I have during the day, I am working on the podcast more.
That's fair.
Just because we've got future things coming
that's true.
Quicker than anticipated, so
I'm
just trying to keep up with it.
It's funny how in weird ways, like little aspects of my life have somehow gotten busier.
Yeah.
Everything, like, my college friends and I like really started upping our like group chat conversations with one another. We've had like 2 Zoom calls with each other and just like hung out and things like that.
Nice.
Like I over the weekend I watched a film with some other people via Zoom and things like that, and people that it's like I try to hang out with when I can, but sometimes it's difficult to get in touch with them or whatever. And it's like suddenly it's like, I said this once. This might sound like a bummery thing, and we try really hard not to be bummers on this. It's like it turns out it's not as much fun to be an introvert if you don't have a choice in the matter. Like,
yeah, I get that. Like, usually I don't know. It's definitely a weird feeling being like, all right, this is your only option now.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, in so many ways, like, it's not changed all that much, right? It's like I spend a lot of my evenings at home, like reading things or watching things or playing video games or whatever. But now that like I don't have that option anymore, it's just weird. Now I'm just like, what do you mean there's no trivia? Like,
right.
I go to trivia maybe like once a month tops, if that. But yeah. Sorry.
No, because I got the same message.
That should be really funny for the folks at home who won't hear the alert. And
yeah. No, for background, we both got a Discord message at the same time, and I knew it caught you off guard because it caught me off guard, but I wasn't talking.
I was like, what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah, but it's also weird that, and this is the one thing I've noticed. So before, I always had a problem with making sure D&D happened regularly.
Sure.
And now I don't have that problem anymore because everybody's trying to find an excuse to do something on a Friday night.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, yeah. it's weird. Some things have become like gone and vacant, but other things that I wanted to be more consistent and like, add, like, get it more into my lifestyle, like, are now becoming that thing. So weirdly, things are cool, but also things are absolutely terrible for the global situation currently happening right now.
It's interesting just considering like the friendships I've cultivated over the years, right? Like,
Yeah.
Being in classes with various historians means that like sometimes on my social media, I get like curated, like lists about various things. And like the interesting thing about this current situation is I am getting more history about like the etymology of various words and things like that.
Okay.
And so like, so many of these words that we just kind of take for granted today do come out of similar situations to this one. And I just, it's so fascinating to me because it's like, I think about how lucky we are that like we have the ability to do things like this, right? To talk remotely and to play games remotely and to watch movies remotely. Even if it's just everyone counting down 3, 2, 1 on their own screens and like everyone being, a half second out of sync with one another. Like it's kind of amazing because I couldn't imagine the alternative where it's like you had to do this, but like you literally couldn't know how your friends were doing. Right?
Yeah, like imagine if this happened in the 90s.
In the 90s, or like, the fucking Middle Ages when,
Well, we all kind of have an idea of what that was like from
but
the
I mean,
history
like,
books.
That's true, but like have you ever heard of the Decameron?
No, I don't think so.
The Decameron is to many called like the Italian Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
You know what the Canterbury Tales are, right? I don't wanna
No, I mean, it sounds familiar, but you will have to refresh my memory.
Sure. So the Canterbury Tales are a collection of short stories by a guy named Chaucer. And they have a framing narrative, and it's like a group of pilgrims going to some sacred site. And so every night, in order to entertain themselves, they all tell stories, right? And so these stories, there are some that are very serious, and there are some that are very silly, and there are some that are kind of bawdy, and all of these various genres and things like that. And so Italy has a similar thing called the Decameron, which is this group of young like socialites from Florence, I want to say, get sent out to their to the one family's like country villa, which is outside of the city and therefore a little bit safer. And so they're like, oh, we're so desperately bored because we have nothing to do. And so every night they all tell stories based on a theme. And so in a way it's kind of like Italy's Canterbury Tales, because it's like a bunch of short stories with like a loose framing narrative, because the novel hadn't technically been invented yet. That was invented by Cervantes with the novel Don Quixote.
This reminds me a lot of how is it Mary Shelley? This Frankenstein was created. Didn't they do something similar to this where they would talk, like they basically Mary and like 2 other horror authors at the time basically were trying to like creep each other out?
It was her husband and their friend Lord Byron.
Okay.
And Lord Byron is kind of more famous for being a poet than like a prose writer.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, and so I think there was some other friends there too, but like those were the big 3. Because it's really interesting because of the group, Shelley probably has like the longest reaching like cultural relevance.
Yeah.
I have one friend who, if he heard this, would probably get very mad at me because he loved Lord Byron. But of
sure.
the 3, and like it was one of those things too where there's some implication that like Percy Shelley wasn't super happy that his wife was like a successful novelist and things like that. But yeah, that's
boo on that.
Right. But I mean, yeah, and it's one of those deals where it's like, but I just think it's really interesting that it's like, there are weird commonalities. It's just that we have, I made a joke on social media where I was like, you just know that if Shakespeare had the opportunity to like build a Pokemon team, he would have taken advantage of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, duh.
Like, I think people
Also-
sometimes use these things against us because it's like, oh, these kids with their video games, and it's like a fun distraction. It's probably very similarly to like writing plays, like
Yeah.
it's a creative outlet of your energy.
Yeah. Also, fun fact,
Uh-huh.
going back to Mary Shelley,
Yeah.
there was an episode of Doctor Who that just came out in this most recent season
Oh,
that
yeah?
kind of explored that concept, or explored that the night that Frankenstein was created.
Yeah. Do they have to fight like something that's very similar to like the creature from Frankenstein, and then
No,
Mary Shelley's
they
like,
they
"Whoa."
they have so Doctor Who typically has like an overarching narrative that goes on
Okay.
between the episodes, even though
It's like
technically,
largely episodic.
yeah. And so they were getting to the end of the season at that point, and so it kind of directly tied in with the ending of that this season, which is kind of
okay.
loopy banana
Okay.
sandwiches, but
Sure. Hey, Doctor Who, right?
well, this one's even loopier than
than previous
I would
loopies?
say, yeah. So like up until now, I've been fairly open-minded about how the show, like the seasons end and like the transitions between the different doctors. I've loved Jodie Whittaker's take on the Doctor, but the ending was so wild and it felt like mildly undeserved.
Okay.
And, don't at me on social media, but I do feel that it definitely took the wind out of my sails a little bit for Doctor Who.
Interesting.
Because we could spend an entire episode talking about it, but basically
Sure.
it feels very, it almost feels like the way they wanted to, they wanted to drop this huge reveal, and it was like, oh, holy crap, that's crazy. But then like it kind of gets resolved in that episode, and then there's a moment where the Doctor's challenged with like the one thing that the Doctor can't do, and then like she gets Deus Ex Machina'd out of the situation, and it feels very like, oh, well, cool, I guess. This didn't do anything for me. Whereas like other seasons, they, you had to test the Doctor, and then somehow the Doctor got clever and kind of worked his or her way out of it. And then
Sure.
This one felt like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do the thing I said I wasn't going to do. And then she couldn't do it. And then, well, the show needs to go on, so here's your way out. And it's kind of like, that feels shitty.
I feel that. Do you want to hear another crazy thing?
Yes, I love crazy.
In the beginning of the history episode, we talked a
Uh-huh.
lot about video games. And at the beginning of the video game episode, we talked a lot about history. April Fools!
Joke's on you, nerds. We flipped everything the fuck around. Oh my god, I didn't even notice. That wasn't planned, by the way.
Says you.
Oh shit. Okay, I didn't plan it. I was definitely just gonna be like, all right, the bit's gonna be in the episode, but man, the intro is killer this time.
You're right.
But also,
No.
we probably shouldn't spend 30 minutes on the intro this time.
Au contraire.
Oh
Yeah. Hey, do you gotta? Hey, so rumor has it, Cody,
yeah.
that I am a pro strat gamer now.
Oh, you are a pro strat gamer, so you'll be
you might-
familiar.
You might have heard that I've been recently sponsored by GameSack,
Oh yeah, GameSack.
a feed bag for nerds.
Yeah, it's
where
so
you
that
just put
you
your
don't.
you put your T-bell in there and you just smash it up with the official Nerdsack Pounder TM.
Yeah, well, so you can also get the premium edition of GameSack, where the bag itself will like push up against your face, crushing the food for you.
Yeah, it
A patent pending. It
man,
hasn't been
Cody,
FTC approved yet, but
Cody,
GameSack Premium.
Cody, you breezed right over the fact that with my one you have to smash that sack.
Well, that's the patent. That's the patent tagline that I can't say because I'm not sponsored by them.
That's the commercial in Nintendo Power.
You gotta smash that sack.
It's me doing a thumbs up and it says smash that sack.
Smash that sack. GameSack.com. Yeah, order yours today at GameSack.com.
So you're gonna tell me about
yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about video games sponsored by GameSack.
smash that sack.
Smash that GameSack. So anyways, so with the recent current global situation,
Yes.
I was blessed with the fact that March 20th of 2020,
Yep.
a very special game near and dear to my heart came out.
Oh yeah, we came.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk today about Doom Eternal, which it's a super fun game. You can catch. I did 2 streams. The past 2 streams have been Doom Eternal. And
Sure.
It's a social simulation game where you take on the role of the Doomslayer, who gets sort of conned by Satan himself to go to their own private island.
On Mars, right?
On Mars.
That's where
as Satan kind of swindles you out of your life savings or whatever, you get to this island, and basically it's, because I was trying to look for the right verbiage for this game, like the kind of genre, if you will. But social simulation is the closest thing I can find, because at its core, you're really just simulating kind of the social aspects of life, because what happens is once you get on the island, other Doomslayer animals will show up and live with you.
Oh, okay. Well, no, what kind of Doomslayer animals are we talking about? Are we talking about...
They got all sorts.
Those like demons that come out of the portals, or...
No, not quite. So one of the animals that I just recently had come to the island, her name is Ankh, and she is an Egyptian cat.
Ooh.
Yeah, and she's got that Egypt style going on. I also
style.
Yeah. I also just got Griff, who's this kind of badass hippo who looks real tough, but he's swole, and he's gonna come and join what I've named the island Outer Haven army. And one of the cool things is, like, you kind of slowly, like, this is one of those games that you kind of play like 2 or 3 hours every day, maybe every other day, just like little bits here and there.
Sure.
And so, like, on the first day, they're like, all right, get set up, collect some, you can go around and you can fish for demon fish and catch demon bugs with your BFG butterfly net. And the whole time you're collecting bells, which is the currency in your new hell.
Okay, so why are you collecting bells?
So you're collecting bells because Satan has told you that the only way you can get out is by getting out of debt.
Okay, and so you're working with Satan in this one. That seems like an interesting twist.
See, the idea is that, like, you're only working with him so far just so that you can eventually get the upper hand. However, Satan's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, because, like, first you owe him for just getting to the island, and so you got to pay off that debt. But you're going to be here for a while, so he offers you a home. And then you get the home, and then you got to pay off that debt. And then he wants to upgrade, because one of the big things about Doom Eternal is the fact that you can kind of customize not only your island and, like, the things that show up on your island, but also your home, and you can get furniture various ways. You can shake the trees and sometimes furniture falls out. You can buy them from Satan's two nephews, Satan and Lucifer. And But yeah, like a big aspect, because I haven't played one of these games in a really long time. My first one was on the GameCube back in, gosh,
2001.
must have been. I was but a mere child when Animal Crossing. I mean, Doom Eternal.
Wait a second.
For the GameCube.
Wait, Cody.
Oh shit!
Wait, Cody. You know that ever since GameSack, Pound That Sack, took over, they said we have to only cover big boy games.
Yeah, no. So Animal Crossing is a big boy game, and
what?
That's the joke.
April Fools.
No, but Animal Crossing has. When I played my last rendition of Animal Crossing was for the original one on the GameCube, which
sure, yeah,
arguably
that was New Leaf.
No, that wasn't even New Leaf. So this is.
Was it just Animal Crossing?
Yeah, just Animal Crossing. I have New Leaf, but now that I've played New Horizons, I really have no reason to go back, because New Horizons is literally just like, hey, you liked Animal Crossing as a concept, right? All right, we're going to improve upon the concept in every way and then call it New Horizons. And like the fact that like cuz you get to name the island, you get to, you know, invite the villagers that you want to invite. Like you don't have to, although arguably if you want to like progress the fastest, you kind of just take whoever you can get. But,
that's the Pro Strike Gamer way.
Yeah, that's the gamer stuff. But see, the thing,
I need that fucking turtle on my island.
Right. So this game came out at a very peculiar time.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are looking for an escape. And a lot of people really miss the social interactions of what we had prior to our global situation. Sure. And this kind of simulates that in a lot of ways, because like the animals, like they'll talk to you, they, you know, sometimes they're just like really silly. Like I remember watching a streamer play and somebody was like, man, hating pineapples on pizza is like that cool new thing to do. And I was like, damn, fucking topical. And like they'll just talk about weird shit. They'll give you things. They, you know, you can give them gifts and they'll give gifts back to you. I just found out today is the start of the Easter event where a bunny
egg,
named
right?
What?
You're an egg, right?
No, I'm not an egg, but I'm collecting a absolute crap ton of eggs. And I guess the concept is you keep collecting eggs that you use for the DIY, which is another new thing. Basically, they've given you the option to... So basically, you can gather resources in this game now. So there's various types of wood. There's like rocks and ore that you can pick up. And basically, you can use those to build tools that eventually break, a la like Breath of the Wild. But also, you can build furniture.
That's where my mind immediately went. I was like, oh, it's just like Breath of the Wild.
Right. But you can build your own furniture and you'll get these things called DIY patterns, and you'll like slowly over time you just collect a myriad of these patterns, and you're like, oh, I can make, and like this game doesn't really have a win condition or an objective like a traditional game. There are fun objectives to complete. There's a museum that eventually shows up on your island, and there's like an entire encyclopedia of bugs and fish and fossils you can donate to the museum. And it'll take you all year round because certain fish only show up at certain times of the year. If you've been following me on stream, you know that I was working so hard to get the fish that stopped showing up after March for the rest of the year, the stringfish. And I'll have you all know, I did collect it. I'm gonna, when I get the image off of my Switch, I'll post that on social media that I did end up catching it off stream. But man, this game is just so much fun because it's not... So a lot of games, it's like, you gotta do the thing, dun, 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 and you're just like, all right, I got to do the thing. In this game, it's kind of like, hey, you can do all this stuff, but like, you don't have to. You can just go collect bugs if you want, or, you know, what have you. And one of the most satisfying gameplay loops in Animal Crossing is a thing they brought over called Nook Miles, which is very reminiscent of like weird, like gimmicky, like store points that are really common, or were really common. I don't know how common they are now, but so there are these Nook Miles, and you just do mundane tasks like, oh, if you chop or if you collect 10 wood resources, you get like 100 of these points, and you can spend those points to go to one-off islands where there's a random chance that shit will spawn, and like it's a gamble every time. Like sometimes it's new people, sometimes it's like rare fish or bugs or rare fruit that you can sell back at your place for way more than what your standard fruit on the island is. My fruit was cherries. I mean, there's so many different things in this game, and there's lots of these, like, it's one of those games where if I get too in depth, I kind of spoil the fun of the game, because a lot of it is just like learning it, because there's no urgency, right? Like you can just kind of explore the game at your leisure. And so for me, when the game came out, I actually had that day off from work, so I got to play it all day, and I really got to like explore the island and kind of see what kind of stuff there was to do in the game. And it's a great game whether or not you want to spend all day playing it, or if you're just like, man, I just want to check up and see how my animals are doing, you know? Yeah, I think the big thing that they added, granted, my experience isn't with New Leaf, so like this all could have been in that game, and maybe I'm crazy, but one of the big things for me anyways are like the fact that you can basically customize anything on the island. Like eventually, and I guess this is spoilers, but they showed this off in the trailers, but you can, like, at some point in the game, you can start terraforming the island.
Okay.
Where like you can...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like you can change the way the rivers run on your island, or change the topography and all of this stuff. And you can even, at a certain point, like say you're like, oh man, I really liked where my house was, but now I don't, and I really want it here. Like you can move all that stuff. And like right now on my current island, I'm trying to move all of my villagers over to one side of the island as like, like in like a nice neat row, although it'll take me some time to get there. I still need to like terraform and stuff. But I've seen some crazy pictures online of like what people are doing. Now, granted, I'm playing it in the way that Nintendo and its developers and stuff intended, which was to play it day by day. So I haven't experienced all that the game has to offer yet. Although the spring event just happened where you go around collecting eggs, and that's been pretty fun. But you don't have to do that. Like, I guess people have been changing the date. Well, people have been changing the date on their Switch. And
that's monstrous.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, to each their own. It's not how I want to play. But I've seen what people can do when they did that, and like there's some cool stuff you get eventually. Like someone did like an entire like modern day style town where they had like streets and lampposts and stuff, and it was wild to look at. And there's just a lot of creativity. There's kind of like a pixel board where like you can create your own designs, and you can eventually share them online with other people, provided that you have the Nintendo Online subscription. It is multiplayer, although arguably I think Nintendo and multiplayer will never quite be as thorough or as user-friendly as something on another console or just PC in general, because for some reason they are just so worried about people cheating and doing weird stuff with the game that they make it so unuser friendly that it's really hard for me to recommend the multiplayer part of the game.
Okay.
I also, and so one of the big things that I liked about the original Animal Crossing was that you would build a town, but up to 4 other of your, like, different villagers could live in that same area. And I guess now with what they have in place, it's really not cool to, like, have more than one person living on the same island, because content is gated by the person who created the island. And not necessarily gated behind the standard rules that apply, because it is like a game that you're supposed to take in daily. Like, if you complete something, they're like, oh, you completed this bridge project, because you can build bridges. Like, once you complete it, you gotta wait till the next day for that to show up. So
sure.
So I don't recommend all of the multiplayer aspects. I think there's a lot that could have been done to make that a little more accessible. But if you're looking for just like a really cute, God, this game is cute. If you're looking for a really cute game that simulates the, going out and hanging out with people and, building your own little cute island and not necessarily having a goal, just kind of walking around and kind of enjoying the scenery and just enjoying the game for its, small tasks that it has in front of you, you're going to have a good time. But if, you need direction and stuff, or, that this whole thing sounds like, just a giant chore, like, this is one of those games where it's like you either love this game or you're not going to pick it up.
Sure.
But yeah, that is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah. It sounds like fun. It's I'm planning on getting it for my sister for her birthday. So
nice. Yeah, it's a solid game.
Yeah, it looks very cute. I see people playing it on Twitter and I get very jealous.
Oh yeah, you should definitely watch some of the streamers that are playing it.
Yeah. One of
fun.
Which is Phantom Roulette.
Yeah, you can
check
go
it
on
out.
twitch.tv.com/fandomroulette and you can see
get in there. Watch it. Play
or
play
you can watch the VODs on YouTube.
I have a question about the Switch in general.
Yeah.
I'm gonna obviously buy it as a game for my sister for her birthday. Would we be able to start 2 separate games each on our own accounts?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
It is 1 island per Switch, as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, but I mean, you can make a character on like her island if you were to like have some extra time. You just, unfortunately, the way the game works is whatever, like, that person, the main person needs to progress in the story in order for the other person to. I think there's also other restrictions, but
sure.
You definitely can play. It's just kind of,
it won't be the full experience.
Right.
But anyway, anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Sounds like a good game. So yeah, check out Doom Eternal. Everyone's favorite cute animal simulator.
Nice.
Hey Cody, if people want to learn more about Phantom Roulette and or check out some of our other stuff, where could they do that thing?
Oh man, they can go to our website. That's our hub for all of our interactions online. You can go to www.fandomroulette.com and you get all access to all of our episodes, and you get access to our bios with the things that we're working on at any given moment, and etc. etc. And if you go all the way to the bottom, where all of our social media links are, if you're ever looking for, our Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, etc., you can also go to our little comment box where if you want to send us feedback about how you feel about Animal Crossing or Doom Eternal, or, any suggestions of what to play on the stream, I stream every Monday from 6 to 10 p.m. EST. You can do so there. You can also find us on pretty much everything: iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, your RSS catchers. If you are looking for a way to share us, one of those will do. All you have to do is search Fandom Roulette. And then speaking of social media, on Twitter, we are fandomr_podcast. That is where we release information about like when I go live for streaming or when new episodes come out, or any kind of just general updates about the podcast or, you know, Fandom Roulette in general. And if you go to Facebook or Instagram and search Fandom Roulette, you can find all of our posts about silly memes and just general fun things that we're doing. I'm going to try to post the picture of the stringfish that I caught literally hours before it became unavailable to me for the rest of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was close. Like, I was nervous. It was just like a nightmare for me. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to be so dejected if I can't catch this fucking fish. Took forever, but I got it.
I'm proud of you, bud.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please, on whatever platform you are, like, comment, subscribe, share. Anything that you do will help us greatly. And we appreciate you all. We love you.
We love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, stay safe, be good. And
enjoy Animal Crossing if you have it, or if you're
enjoy Doom Eternal. Kill those
rip
cute
and
raccoons.
tear, hug and share.
Kill those cute raccoons.
Oh.
So anyway, signing off for Fam Roulette, this is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And as always, stay nerdy.
Stay super nerdy.